First thing we say, Moto Cannon. Nice job.
GG Moto Cannon.
Just here to say, the Pan America seat moved.
What is going on, everybody? Chase on Two Wheels here with my co-host, Bo. This is episode 16 of Live on Two Wheels. Yes, in the audience, Bo, you have your hand raised?
Yeah, I just didn't want to interrupt you.
Oh, okay.
Welcome to the stream, guys.
So I'm upset because my joke was gonna be me saying, "Hey, Bo, can you do me a favor?" And then me being like, "Could you not interrupt me this episode?" But you took the joke. Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, bud.
Guys, what is going on? Episode 16, bro. We're coming up close on 20 episodes.
Wow,
can you imagine? That's a lot. So, guys, episode 16.
Almost count that high.
Okay, so everybody, welcome. Today in Live on Two Wheels, we're talking beginner bikes, guy, because my God, there are so many bikes right now. So we're going to be talking about the bikes that are available that we kind of consider beginner bikes.
Beginner friendly
bikes. I'll talk about the title beginner bike because I talk about it, and I've talked about it many times over the years, but I do want to touch on it again. We're going to kind of break down the bikes we feel are good in the market, how we feel the beginner bike market is, and there is no technical sponsor for this show or this episode, so we're sponsored by Wreck Bike Rebuild. If you guys want to support us doing shenanigans on motorcycles and win motorcycles, Wreck Bike Rebuild is awesome to do that. It's patreon.com/chaseontwowheels, or if you're buying gear, make sure to use that link down below in the show notes. Use that to go to Revzilla if you're going to get gear from Revzilla. And then when you buy it from there, we get a little kickback. You guys don't pay any more. So thank you long time for anybody that does that. Also, if you guys don't know, you're live watching this maybe right now. And if you are, what's up? High five. If you're not, you could be listening to us. You could be listening to these sweet, sweet sounds. And if you are, and you're on Apple Podcast, we would super appreciate a review over there. I think that's it. Make sure to hit the like button for you guys that are here live. Let's get the likes up, baby. Getting them likes up. See, you guys are already killing the likes, so continue to do that. All right.
Fair warning, though, to chat. Like, Chase took a day off, and he is on a different level today.
I did. I got to see my mom and my grandma yesterday for the first time this year.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So took the day off yesterday, so I'm on a different one today, boys. Okay, so this is the soon to be number 2 rated motorcycle podcast on podcast platforms. That's where we're at.
Yay.
Where we now do housekeeping, which you're gonna have to tell me because I was at the pool yesterday, chilling. So what happened? What's been going down this week, Bo?
When you're away, we mostly just edit.
Is it just super quiet?
It's pretty quiet around here.
Huh.
Yeah. So
do you like it or not like it?
I don't know.
Quiet?
I get a lot more done.
You get more work done when I'm not here? That is... Damn it. That's the opposite of what a boss should have.
No, it just we've had you've announced that you have the bike, right?
Which one? Oh, the MT-07? Yeah, people know.
So we've been running through that business, getting that edited. You were here because you did it. The Atlas 3.0.
Yeah, bro. So we had Yami Noob on last episode, or the episode before that, and we were talking to him about like, oh man, you do 7 episodes a week or whatever. And then we come in this week putting out, we have 6 videos coming out this week.
Yeah.
Yeah. So me and Bo were joking around a minute ago of like, what happened since Yami Noob came? Because now we're just like pumping stuff out. And it's just like, it's not like we mean to. Right. Like we just have content come in, we make the content out of the things that happen, and then we move forward.
I think our mindset changed because we're like trying to do some restructuring to plan for the next season.
Right.
And I think that with that's already in our head. And like you and I operate the same way when it comes to things like that. Once that's locked in,
Yeah.
that permeates everything that we kind of do. So we operate under that new running order.
Yeah, we need to be careful at who we let in on the show, man. We got to be really careful.
We've been talking about the restructure for a while. So this was when we sat down pen and paper and we kind of notched out what our plans are for the next season and beyond. I think both, like I said, both you and I, we kind of operate in that okay, we have our marching orders.
Right.
And then now moving forward, everything that we're touching has a little bit of that on it. And so we're being more efficient.
I think, I do think the efficiency is what kind of got mixed up because we had these meetings of hey, we need to be putting out more content. And that was before Yami even came.
Yeah.
And we had a plan. We currently have a plan for 4 videos consistently every single week, plus the live show that goes live and then, goes back on the channel afterwards. And then on top of that, the just happenstance of the Atlas 3.0 launch, which was a launch we've been waiting on. And then we already had all this content. Say what?
Review coming. Actual
review coming.
Yeah.
My God, guys, we put out the Atlas unboxing, and our whole thing is you put the unboxing out, you gauge interest, and then obviously there's going to be plenty of interest for the Atlas 3.0. But if it was a lesser known company, a lesser known product, we're starting our new plan is we put unboxing out, see how people respond, and then we go into the review process after that. So many people were really, you couldn't go ride it? I was like,
bro,
it's an unboxing video. You're not supposed to go ride it.
Bro.
You're supposed to just check it out and, and stuff like
let
that.
this garbage truck in here.
Yeah, the garbage truck's in here again. Okay, so it's been a crazy week, and I don't think next week's going to be as crazy. There's no giant helmet launches, so we should be. It should be a normal 4-video week.
Do you think Ruroc would care if I did an unboxing when I get mine on my channel?
No.
All right.
Why would they care about that?
I don't know.
More publicity for them.
You're the one with the sponsorship. I'm just riding your coattails.
You're in the coattails now. No, you should totally do that. I need to double check that we have those coming in too.
Yeah.
So that's what's going on this week. Oh, we have, I think the new series will start coming out next week.
Mm-hmm.
So we got a new style show for you guys that we don't know if it's going to continue. We don't know how it's going to take. So we're going to try a couple episodes out, and if it doesn't take, we've got a secondary option. So next week, you guys get excited. We have some new stuff that you might find enjoyable. Hopefully you do. And if you don't, we'll make it better over time anyway.
Yeah, that's kind of how we operate.
It is how it operates.
I think that's it. That's pretty easy week. It was a lot of editing.
Easy week, 6 videos, no big deal.
It really was. And that's the weird part is that I'm not stressed out about this week at all. And if you had a year ago,
mm-hmm. Oh, that's the weird thing. That's the weird
shitting
thing.
my pants right now.
So we had this conversation. Me and Bo literally had an entire day where we just sat around laptops and we were like, okay, let's figure out the most efficient way to make videos. And we came up with this strategy of pumping out 4 videos a week with a live stream. And that's with one of our days being a meeting.
Yeah.
The whole day.
Like an actual company.
Ugh. Oh God, we need to go back to the days where it was just just dicking around and
barely surviving a shit show,
right?
Weekly.
It's bro, we put 2 videos out every week. How do we do this? So, anyways, guys, we got some really cool stuff planned. We're really excited over here to get stuff ramped up. Speaking of ramped up, the beginner bike segment has,
bro.
Just so we have context, guys, when I started writing, my thought process when I was looking at motorcycles was this. I got 3 options. And these weren't all the options, but as a writer, these are the 3 bikes that I thought were good bikes that I might start on. It was a ugly-ass tribal black and red Ninja 250 from Kawasaki. It was Kawasaki's Ninja 650, which they still make, phenomenal bike, and a SV 650. That was the 3. I was like, bro, one of these is the one. Y'all, I spent 45 minutes before the show. You can ask Bo to attest this. I spent 45 minutes collecting images of potential
to the wire.
yeah, I literally had I had to stop myself. I didn't even finish.
Yeah.
I counted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 26, 27. I got to 27. I got to 27 motorcycles.
Bro, we said that we were talking about this as we're getting ready to go live. I would hate to be a new rider now.
Okay, so Paul, we do not we cannot disagree more. So let's start this conversation off with: is a ton of options a good thing or a bad thing? Because we've got a lot to talk about. And starting off, I feel like before we even get into it, let's talk about me and you. Like, is this a good thing or a bad thing? We also need to define what a beginner bike is, though.
Yeah.
Let's start there because that's a logical start place. And then
your fucking wife.
Oh.
She fucking roasted you.
Let me if I can. You're gonna have to read it.
She said, counting to 27 on stream is quality entertainment. Lamau. Oh.
Wait, no, bro. We need a sound effect called "wife roasted."
God, hell yeah.
Oh, we need a sound effect wife roasted.
Let's make it happen.
Oh my God. Yes, you're babe, you're right. Okay. Note to self: don't count to 27 on stream.
You should have stopped at 20. That's our limit, remember?
Yeah, I should have stopped when my breathing stopped. When I had to start going like, okay, that was good. Beginner bike.
Beginner bike.
So here's the reason we use the word beginner bike. This is one of those situations we internally don't really like the word beginner bike.
Not at all.
Because it implies in the name that only a beginner can ride these bikes.
And that's the only bikes they can ride.
Like, at least in America, bro, you can go get a H2 for all the government cares about. So, like, beginner bikes, it's just a shitty word, but we have to use it. For lack of a
better term, so people understand.
Well, yes, it is to help people understand. But if you go on YouTube, we are in this stupid world where, like, we have to use certain terms because those are search terms, and if we don't use them, if we literally made a video called "Best Bikes That You Should Start On If You've Never Ridden Before" versus "Top 5 Best Beginner Bikes," you guys know what video is going to do better.
Yep.
So because of that, that's the terminology we're using. But let's get into defining a beginner bike.
Yeah.
I'll personally say it's 650cc and under.
See, I don't think that there's a limit.
You don't need not a limit, but like generally, because I do know in the research I was doing beforehand, I definitely included some options that were above 650, but generally, you can look at 650 and under. I would prefer like a lighter weight motorcycle. I don't necessarily care about height because you could be 7 foot tall and never ridden before, and you're still going to need, like, the seat height doesn't really matter. That's more of a personal thing. I am going to be looking at like a throttle response. I don't really want a beginner on a bike that has a really strong power band that's going to hit them randomly. And I also want ease of use because like bikes like a ZX10, obviously it's an extreme circumstance. Mm-hmm. Bikes like a ZX10, a Panigale, these bikes have so many settings that even me not knowing what, like, I know what I'm doing, and I'm looking at this bike like it's going to take me a minute to figure out how to change the power modes or the ABS or the traction control. So ease of use is another high on the list.
I think I have an answer for that.
Interesting.
There are motorcycles, and then there are advanced motorcycles.
Just generally like
just
that?
Generally, there is a bucket. Doesn't matter the displacement or anything like that. There are motorcycles, and there are advanced motorcycles. Advanced motorcycles are things like the BMW S1000, the Panigales, the big boy, like
top tier super sports,
right? Because I'll say this: I've ridden a BMW S1000 RR.
Mm-hmm.
My uncle had one, and I put that with lowest mode, all of the rider aids. That thing was a breeze.
So the BMW specifically are
Right.
100%.
You know what I mean? Like, so, and I said this when I was on the Indian,
Mm-hmm.
both the FTR and the Chief. Those rider modes and the throttle by wire and stuff like that.
Right.
That really does, because then you can fine tune it.
Right.
To really respond to the biggest problem that beginners are going to have, new riders, I should say, instead of beginners, is not knowing throttle control, things like that.
So what is your definition of the advanced bike, and like what is the defining characteristics of one class versus the other that you were talking about?
Well, I mean, okay, so you look at the RC8?
Yeah.
Right?
KTM Supersport.
Right. That thing is monster.
Mm-hmm.
It is a purely analog bike.
Yep.
So it is all you.
Yeah.
The limitations on that bike are not the bike. It is you,
right.
100%.
Right.
There's nothing to help you get out of trouble or to ease you in. When you were on the R7, you mentioned that a couple times on the track where it was like it's more forgiving
Throttle-wise,
where it wants to be. When I had the Chief in rain mode or touring mode, I think it's called.
Right.
I was like, the throttle response, it's so much smoother. It lets it on at a shallower curve.
Right.
Like those kind of things. When those things are in place on a motorcycle, and lower displacement has that kind of same feeling without having the rider aids.
Well, so it has the rider aid built into the
just by sheer lack of power.
Exactly. So
Right.
that's the rider.
So they kind
aid
of
that it
all
has.
fall in the same vein.
Okay, I can honestly,
You see what I'm saying?
I can sign on for that because, and this is one of the reasons in my first rides when I make a big deal about power modes, probably more than most people think I probably should, but when you introduce power modes into a motorcycle, you suddenly, like good power modes, I'm talking like when rain mode's on, the bike can be borderline boring.
To me, you've doubled the amount of motorcycle you're getting for the money.
Yeah, absolutely. I 1,000%.
I think I
agree
even
with that.
said that on the Indian launch.
Yeah.
Where I was like you could start this off, and the best part about that is that if you get comfortable with it, and you're like, okay, time
It's
to
a
step
button
up.
press
It's a button
to-
press.
yeah.
Now you go. If you did that with just buying a new bike, you bought a new bike. Well, what happens if you bit off more than you can chew, and you're like, I want to go back?
Right. Okay, so
flip a
interesting.
button.
So when you're looking at your advanced bikes, you're not really worried about, like, as far as bikes that people could start out on, you're not really looking at the CC, but you're looking at if it has a high CC, it has to be able to be toned down with the electronics of the motorcycle that it comes with.
Some conscious effort of the OEM to make sure that those things are there for people that want them, and then are able to be turned off for the people who have more experience riding
Okay.
and control. Like turning traction control off
Right.
is a scary thing for somebody.
Bro, I do not do that.
You know what I mean?
No.
So it's like, yeah, that's to me is an advanced bike. And like I said, the RC8, there ain't no turning nothing off.
Yeah.
The
no,
key,
true.
that's how you turn it off. That's it. You're like,
right.
nope,
That's how you stay
that's
safe
my
on
traction
this.
control.
You turn the key off. Okay, so generally, I think I think an easy way for me and you then to make a statement of what a quote unquote beginner bike is would be a bike that is easily controlled for someone with minimal experience.
Yep.
Because that kind of opens up the CC conversation. It takes that all away.
Yeah, 100%. And I say that all the time because you and me have had this conversation. Is that like I don't think that 1,000 cc is not beginner friendly, and I don't think 250 isn't for an advanced. Like to me that there's a bunch of crossover.
Right.
Like,
It's not as white and black as,
Yeah.
as it would seem to be.
yeah.
Okay, so that's what a beginner bike is, at least by the definition here in the shop.
Right.
Now, that definition would literally double my list easily. So, right now, I think the general consensus of a beginner bike is the kind of lower
The
CC.
amount of beginner bikes is too damn high.
Yeah. So let's get into that.
Yeah.
There are a ton of motorcycles that are traditionally looked at as beginner bikes.
Right.
And for those, like the traditional thought process of a beginner bike, low CC, it's probably going to be one of the lower in the class.
Yep.
It's going to have a very lightweight, and it's going to have a low price tag, generally, because there's some motorcycles.
Lower barrier of entry
Yeah.
on all marks.
The lowest barrier of entry for most of the models. Okay, so as I said earlier in the beginning, I counted 27.
It's too many.
I counted all the way to 27.
Yeah, you did on stream. Here's the thing.
Quality content.
Here's the thing. All right, and I said this as like a hot take earlier. Like it would suck to be a new rider. Today.
Why do you think it would suck to be a new rider today?
I should clarify it because it was kind of a hot take and a quick one at that. I don't think it sucks for new people to have that many options. I just know me, and if I were starting out riding today and I looked at this list, I'd be like, what the fuck do I do?
Okay, so
there was actually somebody in chat. I would have to scroll up, but it's like they're like looking to get a bike, their first bike soon,
right?
And they're like, there's so many options, and so many of them are good that it could be like, what do?
Absolutely. So that's kind of where my thought process. So I love your hot take, and I totally want us to make a video of it would suck to start riding right now or something like that, because we can totally make a clicky video. But I think the beauty of the beginner bike segment right now is that, I mean, yes, it does suck that there are so many options. You do get that kind of decision fatigue.
Yeah,
you know, because it's like, I think the best way for a new rider to handle this market that we're in right now is they can actually choose, like
I think they should choose what kind of riding they should
exactly do. So my thought process is, so the person before they start riding, they're going to go to YouTube and they're going to watch videos about people riding motorcycles, and they're probably, the people watching those or the people that they're watching are probably riding motorcycles that are not beginner friendly. So my opinion would be, if a new rider is looking at videos that gets them excited about motorcycling, what videos are you watching?
That's how I got started.
Is the guy on a big old adventure bike and he's going on road to a fire trail?
That's why I started on the FZ, because like watching sport bikes like you guys.
Is the person up in the mountains riding a super sport? Is the person on a supermoto doing wheelies downtown? Like, you need to think about the person that you are envisioning that you're watching on YouTube, because odds are there's going to be a lower CC option to the motorcycles that they are riding. Now, if you're just watching literally everything, then you're going to have a rough time, because there's so many good options.
Should break it. We had thought about this ahead of time and break it down into styles, because then it's easier to talk about when you like what kind of riding do you want to do.
That has got to be if you're a new rider,
right?
That's got to be the first thing you break down right now.
Okay, so for me, when I was like 29 when I started riding street, because I rode dirt as a kid, and then I was 29 and I started watching like Brandy and you and M13, and it's a sport bike.
Right.
Okay, cool. I'll go try one of those. I rode that around for like 2 years, and I was like, this is not for me.
FC6R, right?
Yeah, FC6R. I enjoyed it when we went to the mountains and stuff like that, but like every other day I was just like, man, it's a pain, it's a chore, and I was like, that's not how this is supposed to be.
No, you should be getting excited.
Right.
Yeah.
And then I started riding with some buddies around town, and they were all on cruisers, and it was just like this mob the city.
You had that like click in your head,
and
about
I was
like this fits.
All right, what do I do?
Yeah,
like,
I'm stuck now.
And what do I do? All right. So then, so if I had thought about that beforehand, I mean, I'm like, what kind of riding do I like? I like low end torque. I like mobbing around in traffic, and then occasionally, throwing around some twisties.
Right.
not the other way around. Where it's
Yeah.
like twisties every day, and then okay, I'm going to go to work today.
Right.
This is the one day a month I go to work on my bike.
Yeah, you shouldn't be buying a motorcycle for the one weekend you may have a month to go ride it like you want to. You need to buy a motorcycle, and if you're privileged,
I spent more time on the mountains on that Bolt than I did that.
Well, like if you're privileged enough to have multiple bikes, by all means have your mountain bike that you have for the weekend.
Your purpose-built machine.
And then but if you're buying that one bike, I would highly suggest people buy the bike that is going to be better fit for the stuff you do all the time.
Yeah.
I ride, unfortunately, I don't get to go to the mountains every day. Yeah. I would love to, but that's not a reality. But I have a motorcycle, personally, that I can have a good time riding around town. But if I go to the mountains, I ain't lacking nothing.
Yeah.
So breaking it, moving back to went a little tangent on it.
That's fine.
But as far as segments, right? Let's break writing down into segments.
To clarify real quick about the list that we're about to go over, we did favor lower displacement motorcycles in this list.
The classic term of
I would say we favored like the 600 and under for beginner friendly. If you are looking at something a little bit bigger, just do your research.
Right. Check the power modes, because if you go too far,
not just that, but like this is important for no matter what you're looking at. Like for real. I wish and we've said this before, I wish the MSF course was required in the United States to get your motorcycle license, because trust me, starting out on street on a 600cc motorcycle, I felt so much more comfortable having been given the tools to ride that thing appropriately.
Right.
And like,
because that's a lot of weight. If you go from, because like for me, before
I was riding 125s and 150s in the dirt.
Bro, I was riding a bicycle. When I was working my like restaurant job, trying to save up for my first motorcycle, I was like, I'll ride a bicycle around. And if you want to know how heavy a bike is, ride a bicycle around in the city streets and then go to a motorcycle, and you're like, oh, a bicycle weighed like 15 pounds. And now I've got like 400 between my legs. It's the way you manipulate the vehicle around is entirely shifted. So it's you definitely need to keep that in mind.
Take that into consideration when we go through this list.
Yeah, that's the asterisk.
How do you want to do the list? We can do this because then I want to talk about them some, but I also you fucking put 27 of them down. So
true. So let's break it out into the 4 general categories, and then we'll break each of those categories up into the bikes that we think fit those lists for the beginner bike segment, and maybe like the ones that we personally like the most in those segments. Hey, let's start with the cruisers. What are the segments? We got cruisers, we got nakeds, sport bikes, and dual sports. Now, we are clear, there are more.
But I think that for a beginner,
that is a... Because
and just as a rider in general, those are like the pretty.
It's already, bro. Oh my God, looking up this information, everybody calls everything different. So we're trying to just make it easy for you guys, especially you guys that aren't really super familiar with the market. I think cruiser, naked, sport bike, and dual sport really
the most popular
for sure. Absolutely. So let's start out with cruisers, because.
You don't know much about
I don't know much about cruisers. As you guys know that watch the show consistently, Bo has convinced me that we need to start making a move towards more cruiser stuff. I've seen how excited he is with Indian. We had our email from Harley the other week, so like I'm trying to get more into it. We do have future content we will be bringing, but as far as right now, I have very minimal experience. So Bo, as far as people looking to start on a cruiser-style motorcycle, what are we looking at?
All right, so cruisers are a little bit different, because if I told you, like an 1100 is a good beginner, quote, quote, in this context.
I would say you've lost your mind, 100%.
But it's the power delivery of these bikes, the gearing, all that stuff is so much different than on sport bikes.
Right.
That like my Bolt, which is a fairly slow cruiser, like in the realm of cruisers, that thing is not the best.
Yeah.
It's better than the Iron 83. I just want to put that out there.
Oh,
Yeah, no shade.
shots fired.
Yeah, shots fired.
Shade, but no shade.
But yeah, so like a 1100 V twin is like 60 horsepower.
An 1100 V twin is 60 something.
60 horsepower, but you're also like maybe 60. So like my Bolt,
yeah,
as it sits right now, is maybe 60 something horsepower.
I will say I'm slowly starting to understand horsepower numbers. Like I know that the big super sports are all at like that 200 number.
So
right
then,
now,
like you also got to think about like power to weight.
Yeah.
Right. The Bolt, which I have listed here, but like the Bolt is 40 something horsepower.
Okay.
Out of the gate. It's no slouch. The torque and the horsepower, like it's no slouch considering that it's a motorcycle.
So you think somebody could get on a Bolt first motorcycle out the gate and be okay?
100%.
Interesting.
100%. But you can also have fun with it as an experienced rider. If the Scout, the new Indian Scout, had existed back then, that would have been the bike that I would have gotten.
Is the one I have up on my screen an Indian Scout?
That one, yes.
Okay, and then just for you guys that didn't see, this is a Yamaha Bolt.
Yep.
Cool stuff. All right, so this is the Indian Scout. Why would we care about the Indian Scout?
So we live in Atlanta.
We do.
So air-cooled can be a pain.
Is this one air-cooled or is this...
The Indian Scout is liquid-cooled.
Oh, so the Bolt is air-cooled.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, God. Don't get this then.
I mean, get it. It's a great bike, and I've had a lot of fun riding it.
Right.
But, like, those are your, like, what most people consider... That, the Iron 883 from Harley, the Bolt, the Scout, those are what most people consider beginner cruiser bikes. But you can step it up to 1300s and be okay.
Jesus. What's the CC on the Scout?
Scout's a 1100, I think.
I like the shape of this thing, I got to say.
You should see it in person. It's like this tall. It's like a bulldog. It is short, squat. It's like a little bruiser, dude.
Interesting.
It's a nice bike.
I think if I was going to get sold on a cruiser, it would be this Indian Scout style thing. 100%.
Yeah, dude. So, like, you have this weird kind of separate market for cruisers because the power isn't really what you're...
The power, the CC number on cruisers does not translate to nakeds and super sports.
So, like, and I said, I guess I keep harping on it, the Chief... Mm-hmm. The Chief, as long as you like feel comfortable with the weight of it, because it is like a 650-pound bike,
right?
Like as long as you feel comfortable on it, bro, you could start on it. Like you could never have ridden. You go to the MSF course, finish your course.
Assuming you've done the MSF course, you
do not
could
do
then.
any of these things until you take that fucking course. I wish it was mandatory, but like, I've actually called my MSF instructor from like a decade ago and thanked him like when that person pulled out on me on 75 and I like no contact whatsoever, managed to like have the bike got some scrapes and whatnot, but like all the things I learned from him
kept you alive,
and I was awesome. Like, so you should do it. But if you do that and you go down something like the Chief, or you know, if you're a taller fella or you feel comfortable with it, the Chieftain, which is their small bagger, like you throw it into touring mode, breeze. Do that for a year or whatever until you get comfortable with it. Step it up to the next mode, standard. Then step it up to sport. Like it's different than sport bikes in that manner. That like you've got a monstrous motorcycle.
I think the hard part with the cruisers then is the dealing with the low seat heighted high weight. I think that's the hurdle you have to get past because like
the weight is the biggest one.
I mean, I've sat on plenty of cruisers and just like me knowing how to ride, but having to manipulate that weight around in that body position is a little strange. Yeah. So I can imagine
the only ones
you've
been on are the ones with forward controls too, like where your feet are out.
Yeah, I don't like that at all. So I currently don't. I don't have a lot of experience, but like I'm used to my feet being underneath me because I come to a stop and it's like boop.
So
deploy.
like mid controls would probably be something you would look at. Like the Bolt has mid controls, The Scout has forward control. So that's another thing to think about is like, are you comfortable sitting on it? Like, does that inspire confidence? Because like you're going to be on this world. Yes, you could acclimate to it. I acclimated to, you know, handlebars and my forward controls that I put on my Bolt. But like that's something you got to consider when you're looking at any bike is like, do you feel comfortable on it? But those my two picks, if I had to pick one for like cost and like whatever, it's going to be the Bolt, of course, and the Scout, because I'm sad that it didn't exist when I first got the Cruiser.
I mean, I will not lie. I'm kind of excited about riding the Scout. We're gonna hopefully we can get a Scout in here or something like that.
I think that you'll like. I see. So? Here's the thing, you're gonna hate it at first because of the foot controls.
Well, no, I'd give it a fair shake though.
Yeah, but the rest of it, you're gonna be like, all right, this is cool.
All right, we'll see.
This is the way you sit on it. You're like literally, you're like.
I'll have to start working out so I'll feel normal. So that's the cruiser market. Hopefully that helps out some guys that are looking into some cruiser options.
Yeah.
Let's go into that super popular segment. It's the nakeds.
This is one where we meet in the middle.
Yeah, our meet in the middle are nakeds. And if you guys are, we meet. I forget what that. I forget what our quote was. We meet in the middle for the naked stuff. That was what the quote was. It's memorable. So guys, if you aren't familiar, naked motorcycles are essentially a more upright body positioned. You kind of have relaxed arms. Your controls, your foot controls are right underneath you, and it has minimal fairings. That's kind of what we're talking about in the naked segment. You're looking at stuff like the KTM Duke 390, the MT-03, 07, 09. You're looking at what other the Tuono 660.
They're like big ass supermotos, is what they.
Yeah, they're like fat supermotos.
Yeah.
That's generally what we're looking at when we're looking at naked bikes. And if do you want to go first, or do you want me to say what I think?
I think that we're going to agree that the MT-03, as far as the lowest entry point into, is at least a top contender.
It's a good contender,
right?
The only thing
Price and the fact that Yamaha motors are bulletproof.
Yes,
that's the thing. Because I thought about. My list has the KTM 690.
Yes, the Duke 690, which is like more supermoto-y
right,
style.
Exactly. And I thought about the 390 or 380 or whatever it is.
Of what?
Of the Duke 390.
Yes,
because I love that. But then I was like, man, for the entry, for the price of it, and the fact that Yamahas are absolutely bulletproof engines.
Right.
I was like, you can't. To me, that was the winner.
Well, so if we're going to talk naked 300 style, I don't think I would go with the 300 or the MT-03 because, for one, you don't really have to worry about the bulletproof engine because if you're going to go with a bike like an MT-03, this is speaking generally, I don't think most people are going to stay on that bike for more than a year to a year and a half. I think it's going to take them that long to really get used to that motorcycle, and they're going to start wanting something different. If you do want a low CC in the 300 number.
Time out for a second because I want to address that because that is the kind of mentality that leads to beginner bikes as a
low CC.
No,
that's just a numerical.
No, saying stuff like, "Oh, they're going to grow out of it," and blah blah blah. Because that's what I was told too. I just don't. I think that leads to the mentality of this is a beginner bike and this is not. I think that's kind of ingrained in it. Like you can have fun.
I'm not saying you can't have fun.
Ride the shit out of it forever.
I'm saying having ridden an MT-03, an R3, a Duke 390, I think I would personally rather have a Duke 390 because I'll have more fun. The MT-03 just needs a little more something for the type of motorcycle it is.
Okay.
That engine is phenomenal in an R3 platform. And when we get to super sports or the sport bike segment, I'll explain why I have the R3 in there because I specifically don't have the MT-03 in my naked segment because when I look at a naked bike, I need to have a little punch somewhere. And I don't feel like that bike has it somewhere. So if you want a 300 style, I'm going to push people to a 390 because I think somebody could actually have a Duke 390 for a long time.
I mean, that's fair.
So
somebody else brought a good point though that Yamaha is going to retain its value a lot more.
That's true, but I think somebody would put more happy miles on a Duke 390. But
I know I've rode both of them, and I enjoyed the MT-03.
Really?
Yeah.
You're a shorter rider though, and I feel like the MT-03 is probably going to be more suited for a shorter rider. But I will say, so just because somebody starts on an MT-03, they could start on an MT-03 and really learn that platform, And my personal pick for a starter naked is that 2021 Yamaha 07 MT-07 that we have in the shop right now. Bo edited through the first ride today. I had a enjoyable time.
I'm gonna tell your wife on you.
So honestly, I've noticed with that motorcycle, if I'm chill riding around in traffic, it's not that gross. But as far as power wise, I can just easily modulate the throttle, and I'm just kind of like puttering around in traffic. It has the power where it needs to have it.
It is a lot of low end torque though for it.
If you give it a lot, yes. But this is the same situation that you're going to have in any of the 650 class bikes. I still, to this day, remember it was my first winter riding. I had my old 05 SV650. It was so cold, and I did not have proper gear. I was literally wearing my summer gloves because I couldn't afford gloves at the time. I got a red light, and my hand got so cold that I couldn't feel it. I gave it throttle, and my clutch fingers weren't letting out. It was my first winter. I didn't know how to ride very well. I had the throttle probably like halfway pinned, and my fingers just like, how they're super cold. They just like let go. Bro, that bike went straight up. It was, to this day, the scariest thing that has ever happened to me. So I get that when you get into the 650 class, yeah, you're going to have punchy power somewhere. Yeah. But I think that...
So are you saying that yours is either... So you're saying that's your top end for a beginner?
I think right now, if you want a naked motorcycle to start with, I'm going to push most people to an MT-07. If that's too much power for you, or maybe it's too heavy for you, I'm probably going to drop to either a Duke 390 or that new Z400, so the naked version of the Ninja 400.
I think I like the Duke 690?
690. They don't make a 6. You were talking about the Supermoto one.
No. I'm talking about like they don't make it anymore.
They make a 790 and an 890.
Yeah, I know. But they used to make the 690.
Yes.
And I loved that thing.
I was not a fan of it on the first ride.
I enjoyed the shit out of it.
So, yeah, I think the 400 Kawasaki engine is a phenomenal engine.
I mean, we're kind of in the same realm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like the only thing we differ on is the low end of that. It seems like you and I both decided to go low end, high end of beginner friendly.
Yeah, I would not put anybody on anything bigger than an MT-07 for a naked though. That is suicidal. Yeah. Like if somebody like the MT-09, probably one of the worst bikes to start on. Worst. I want to be clear. Worst motorcycles to start on. I could talk all day about naked bikes, so I will not, because I'm seeing that. Oh my good God!
I told you.
I know. We start every episode with me saying to Bo,
no. We start every episode with him going like, "We need more stuff on our noteboard." Blah blah blah. You think this is going to be enough? And I'm like, you say that every damn time, and every damn time you look at the clock and you're like, "It was 6 o'clock already."
Yeah. Yeah, I'll give you that. Okay,
so sport bikes.
That's nakeds. Let's talk sport bikes.
22 bikes to go, Chase.
That's true. Nice. That's true. So sport bikes are going to be different for me because this is where I feel like a naked bike you have, and this is one of the things I like about naked bikes. I personally feel like I have a lot of control of the motorcycle when I'm on a naked bike. Do you feel the same?
Yeah. I would say so. Yeah, there's less. I don't know. It's something about less body work makes you feel closer to the machine.
Right. Maybe so.
Maybe.
But so when we go to super sports, this is when that body position you're going to be leaned up, and the body position that you're in was created so that you can do maneuvering better at speed. Which means it's not going to be as conducive to having a lot of power when you're not going at a higher speed.
Yeah.
So I'm going to push more towards the lower CC things for the sole purpose of weight. Because when you have to control your bike and you're leaned over it like you have to be on a super sport, now granted, my answer is going to be the R3 and the Ninja 400.
So like we both are the low end of this. We're both R3. Like that's...
You said the R3 as well?
Yes.
Oh, perfect. Yeah,
100%. After having ridden it, I was just like, this is... Well, one, it's a blast. Like,
right.
It's an absolute blast. And it will do whatever you want. And And as I've said many times, and some people in chat were saying, like, riding that thing balls to the wall, full pin, not going anywhere, is infinitely more fun than, like, adhering yourself to a rocket ship seat through suction of butthole only.
The R3, I don't know what Yamaha tapped into,
it's
but
a good bike.
They nailed so many things on that bike. And I have the controversial opinion that I would rather have an R3 than a Ninja 400.
100%.
That is with me agreeing.
100%.
If we were judging engines alone, like just the engine, I think the Ninja 400 has a better engine than the R3. I think the best monster of a motorcycle that anybody could own would be a Ninja 400 engine inside of an R3 chassis with everything else R3. Call it a day, take my money. I'm going to have that. But a motorcycle is far more than the engine. So that being said, if I'm going to choose a super sport for somebody to start on, R3, Ninja 400, I think both of those
Is that your top end, is the 400?
No. So I didn't realize that my top end was this CBR 650R.
I like that. And then I picked the 500R.
Well, so the newest 650R, bro, that thing looks broody as hell. Have you go to my screen real quick? Go to my screen real quick just so I can show these people what my 27-page.
No, son.
Y'all look at all of these bikes. My list is over here on the right. This is just me making a general collection.
I want you to try to explain why there's a fucking photo of my face.
Oh, I was making so this is Chase's picks for bikes and cruisers. I said I believe Bo, so I try to try to just include stuff. Anyway, hold on. I'm gonna rename this Chase's list of 27 motorcycles. Okay. Anyway, that's just me being funny. Down here, I obviously I was going by manufacturer.
Yeah.
But look how broody. So this is the 500. This is the one that you said that you would choose for your upper level for a super sport.
Yes.
Which is a good looking bike. I think I've done a first ride on this.
It's a great. I've ridden one, and
Really?
it's a great bike.
Surprisingly good.
Yeah.
But look at the broodiness of this thing.
Yeah.
Look how thick. This is a thick old boy up
thick
front.
old boy
and
up
this
front.
got this little tiny tail. Bro, I want to ride one of these. I don't think I've
What's
ridden
the
this.
opposite of a tiny waist, big bank? Like,
Tiny. Okay.
that's
Anyway.
it's a TikTok thing. Don't worry about it.
Okay, cool.
Old
I'll have to
man.
ask my wife
No,
about it.
yeah. Your For You page and her For You page look much different than my For You page.
That's probably a fair statement. I love the way this thing looks. This is one of the things, I don't think I've ridden it, so I'm scared to recommend it because I don't know how the power is delivered. But if it's an inline 4.6, or is it an inline 4? I don't know. If it is, the power should be delivered in a pretty linear fashion.
Somebody said, "Wait, what, Chase? You literally have ridden one."
Wait, have I ridden the 650? Because that thing looks totally different. Hold on, let me.
Maybe this is a different, like.
I'm literally about to search YouTube for Chase on Two Wheels 650 first ride. Let me see.
Yes, it's an inline 4.
I did ride that. Okay, it was a year ago. Yay!
It does. It looks good.
All right, guys, I'm
only
sorry.
speaking because I like the 500. It's a super smooth bike, but it's also. I mean, you've ridden it. It's a good bike.
I mean, I did. I remember riding that, bro. It's God, that is such a good bike.
Dingus.
I've ridden a lot of motorcycles at this point. Okay. Anyway, that thing looks awesome.
Yeah.
I would totally. I think if I was gonna pick a 650 Super Sport right now, that's probably the one I would pick. Yeah. Honestly, because one thing, Hondas, everybody can say whatever they want.
The
They're
R7
boring.
has changed that a little bit because, like, the R7 is.
Ooh, that's a good point.
You know what I mean? Because, like,
let's make this conversation super easy. The R7 is technically not available, so my decision is easy. I know everybody gives me crap about being a Yamaha fanboy, and look, they just make great bikes. But
you've got the
CBR.
210 660s up there, and the Aprilia 660s. How do you feel about that in the top tier of
Asterisk?
Yeah.
I have never ridden the Tuono 660 or the RS 660.
The Tuono 660 looks like a blast, and from what Brian was saying, it was a completely manageable bike.
If we're talking, Brian is saying it's a manageable bike.
That's fair.
You know what I mean?
That's fair.
Like, if I'm
the Trident.
There is. Shit.
Stop saying bikes. We're done with our
I
list.
know.
It's
no,
29.
I said when we were making this stupid list, I said, look, I'm gonna put bikes on here until I run out of time. I ran out of time and I didn't even think about going Triumph.
That Trident is real good. I am not a sport bike rider.
Oh my god.
And I took that around. Oh, I took it through our floop-de-loop little thing.
Floop-de-loop is the name of it now. It's called a floop-de-loop.
Yeah, fidooshed it on our floop-de-loop.
Fidooshed it, yes.
And that thing is so much fun. And not a scary bike. Juxtaposition, I took your MT-10 down the floop-de-loop.
Yeah.
And that scared the shit out of me.
Okay, so here's my thing. I'm going to stick with the CBR 650 because the R7's not out.
Yeah.
The Trident, a beginner is going to be less inclined to do stuff on their motorcycle. If you want to get stuff done right, you want to go to an authorized dealer. There are less Trident dealers.
Dealer network is important. That's another thing I didn't even think about.
Everywhere. Yeah, so
like the Indian, we are lucky.
Oh. You've told me this
You
before.
and I are lucky because we have an Indian dealership literally like 10 minutes away, or 15 minutes away. But like the next one's 2 hours away. So like that's another thing I didn't even think about was like dealer networks. You want to make sure that you can get shit done to your bike.
So is that gonna make you put the Bolt heads and tails over the Scout?
Not heads and tails, but it's definitely a consideration. Like it's if we didn't live near one, I'd be like, no, I'm not doing that because I'm not driving to Rome.
And it's not that we don't have Triumph dealers around.
Right.
We even have a new Triumph dealer about to come up supposedly. So like we have some close. Oh my good
10
god.
minutes.
Okay, so we're done with the super sport or the sports. Let's go to the.
We're both the CBRs. 500 and 650.
We were really close on the super sports then.
Yeah.
We were almost like locked on.
This is my favorite. This is going to be my favorite.
What, the dual
category.
sport?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go to dual sport, which is going to include the old super. And we made a video. We made a here's why about why dual sports are the best bikes to start on.
Best thumbnail we've ever made.
I am pretty proud of that thumbnail. When we were doing a research today, we made a pretty decent thumbnail.
So we should clarify, like, it is because some people might know we've explained what the sport bike is, right?
Yeah.
So
wow.
you're
Got spit ice everywhere.
I'm glad it was on me and not you. Dual sports, dirt bikes on the street, like they're street legal dirt bikes, right? They're dual purpose.
Yeah, I was gonna say they're dual sport, dual on road, off road.
Yeah,
essentially.
So think dirt bikes with headlights.
Dirt bikes with headlights. Bam, bam, bam. All right, so for your dual sports, you've got the tried and true.
Yeah.
The WR250.
I think it's tied for me with what they don't make anymore.
Okay.
One of my favorite that I've ever ridden was the Honda, the 250.
The CRF 250, is that their naming convention?
I believe so. Their naming conventions are messed up, but the 300L.
Okay.
So it's tied with that.
So I've never ridden a Honda dual sport.
They're like they're not as powerful. Like most
It's a Honda.
It's most Hondas. Like let's just be they're pulled back.
At least they feel less powerful.
Right.
Yeah.
Like most of them do. But it's
every one of them
smooth.
does. But yeah.
They're fun and they are a little bit more approachable for shorter riders like myself. Just a little bit.
Okay.
Having said that, then I rode the KLX 300 SM.
So that was at Get On MotoFest.
Yes.
So tell me more about this because just to be super clear, a lot of you guys know I got a WR250X at the house.
Your WR is better than it because it's punchier. Like
really.
So, but having said that, the Kawasaki was super smooth and kind of a very chill ride.
So do you think you would get more, like, obviously
without taking it on the dirt?
Right. I've never done that on the
no clue. But on the street, I preferred the Kawasaki.
Interesting.
On the street. Now yours is a little bit different because yours is set up. Yours is specifically.
Mine's been modified for sure.
Yours is specifically the SM, which was designed from the factory.
Right.
As that, based off of their super grunty WR.
Right.
250 platform. The KLX dual sport with the knobbies.
Okay.
Is a different beast, at least from what I rode.
Right.
I only rode the non-supermoto version on dirt, never rode it on the road.
Right.
And I only rode the Supermoto version on the street, not in the dirt, so I can't speak to how it behaves.
Right.
But it's definitely not as grunty or punchy as the WR. But
Okay.
it doesn't have to be for the kind of riding I like to do, which is just
Right.
I like to, like on dirt bikes. It's there's two speeds. There's off and full throttle. Like that's to me how you ride a dirt bike.
Yeah, no, I mean that's how I rode.
And I
the
only
WR.
ever rode smaller displacement dirt bikes. I never went into like the 450s and all that stuff. I was always in like
Right.
the ones, maybe going the twos, like a 240 or something like that. But you just crack the throttle as hard as you can and just let it.
Bro, that's
take
the
you
only way.
wherever it wants to go.
That's the only way I know to ride my WR. Like it's a 250,
Yeah.
and I will give it. It is punchy for a 250, but like the only way I know how to do is like if I'm doing the rear brake.
My key is not in my bike. I am going full throttle.
Yeah, it's like if I'm on the rear brake, bro, I'm stomping the rear brake. My rear wheel is stopped or rotating quickly. That's how that bike exists.
Time out because I want to address something that's in the chat.
Oh God. Okay. Oh wait, you have to raise your hand. Okay. Bo, cut yourself real quick.
Yes.
You have to show that you're raising your hand.
Yeah, I already did.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh, I'm lagged behind. Okay. You may answer your address your thing.
My hat is very brown. My hat is very, very brown. It is just sweat and sunshine that has created this. And tilt your head down a little bit, bud. Just a little bit. Yours is getting there.
Okay, let's clear this up. I believe it was Moto Marvelous, our friend of the show, Moto Marvelous. He commented on our unboxing video that we put out on Tuesday, and he said something along the lines of, "You can get 2 brand new helmets that nobody has, and you got a brown/black Ruroc hat."
Yeah.
So after that, I immediately messaged my guy at Ruroc, and I was like, "Hey, man, could we get 2 more hats, please?" So we have a shipment coming in.
So I'll say this.
We wear these every day, though.
The problem is, and they've retired one of my hats already, because I'm not allowed to wear the
Marvel hat. Yeah, we retired that.
I wear hats until they like have a film and are gross. And the only reason I stop wearing that hat
is because
somebody makes me stop wearing that hat or buys me.
At least I supported the new hat, and I made sure you had a Ruroc hat. So yeah, we have new Ruroc hats coming.
That was just a tangent. I had to address that because I saw the comments on the video, and then now the comments in chats. It's a dirty ass hat. Just like I'm a dirty dude, man. I'm a dirtbag.
Look,
what's that character from Peanuts? Linus? No, the Pigpen. Pigpen.
Okay, you have good.
I'm Pigpen.
Okay, cool. It's Georgia. It's hot. We sweat a lot doing our outdoor motorcycling thing. So look,
sorry for the tangent. So your dual sport picks.
So my dual sport pick, I have
Oh
no way to say anything but a WR250, dude.
Yeah.
It is a freaking tank.
Having ridden yours around, in yours is the X.
Yes.
And
it is the last one that was made Supermoto from Yamaha factory.
The only ones that I've ever ridden were 2 different model years of the R.
Okay.
So with knobbies on it.
Right.
And that was fun.
So I've ridden the WR250R, doing a first
Feels
ride.
Different.
I didn't like it. But granted, I think that was because I have a bike that I've had for so long that when I get on something that's kind of like it, but it's not, I'm like, this is an imposter. I don't like this.
That's how I feel getting on a bone stock bolt now.
Of course. Yeah. The amount of money you've put in your bolt.
Yeah, I've opened it up so much that I get on it and I'm like, this thing sucks.
Right. Well, so here's the one thing I am excited about, kind of like seeing, Kawasaki doing this KLX Supermoto, the 300. I kind of love the fact that maybe we're starting to see more factories, factory OEMs being like, maybe we should offer a low CC Supermoto.
Yeah.
Because
it was a fun bike.
It kind of died out. The WR250X was like the last of its breed for a while.
Fucking Jake, it took 2 seconds for Jake to get yelled at for popping a little baby.
I'm surprised it took him that extra second. Honestly, I'm surprised he didn't get yelled at before he got on the motorcycle.
So that's our list.
Yeah, so that's generally like what
we're in pretty much agreement for most of it.
I think the only thing we really disagree on
was the MT-03
is the nakeds.
Yeah,
that's kind of the only spot we really differ from. So this episode was essentially what bikes and what classes you should start on if you don't have a lot of experience riding.
So I want to circle back before we end and talk about something that we said in the beginning in case you're just like coming into the stream. These are just like I guess what the industry would label as beginner bikes, but I am firmly of the belief that any bike can be beginner friendly if the beginner takes the proper steps in making sure that they're geared well, educated well, take the MSF course.
Bro, check this. Next Here's Why video, we should find like some dumb motorcycle that fits your requirements and say you should start on a Pro RSV4 factory. Here's why.
Yeah,
don't do that. Don't do that. Like that was the worst example ever.
It's a dumb bike to start on.
But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like do our whole Here's Why production level on. You can start on a 1,000cc sport bike,
which to be clear, you can. If you're smart about it.
In the U.S., we have to be clear because we are worldwide.
If you are smart about it, any bike that you touch, as long as you approach it, Dan the fireman, big shout out to him in the chat. Like
Dan's in here again.
Yeah.
Dan,
well, of
what
course,
up, sir?
you saw the big, like the title probably got him.
Yeah, Dan does a lot of teaching, so he's probably like, "Oh God, these idiots are talking about this topic."
Any bike that you touch, as long as you go into it thinking approaching it the appropriate way, and with knowledge and respect towards that machine,
right?
I personally believe that can be your first bike.
I think that's a good piece of content to make because like you don't see a lot of people making videos on. You can start on a 1,000cc, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So we just need to figure out how to title that kind of stuff. But like that's where we're
all
at.
of this to say, go take the fucking MSF course.
Yeah, you do learn. You learn a ton.
Like, okay, if you take nothing away from this, anybody that's looking to get a new bike or their first bike or whatever, you're just starting out riding, go to the MSF.org, MSFUSA.org, I think it is.
Sure.
Yeah.
We'll put it in the show notes.
Yeah. Go
next week.
Go there. Look for a place to get the course done. Take it. Do not. It's like, okay, for me, it was $250. Best $250 I've ever spent.
Well, so here's a fun thing I found out because we have that series that we can't talk about yet, but it's probably going to be happening. So I was doing research on that today. The MSF website has PDFs on PDFs.
Yeah, bro.
Of so much free information.
So that's your tips for beginner bikes is go take the MSF course
if you're in America.
And yeah, exactly. And then go find the bike that you want for the type of riding you do with the knowledge of. Yep. And you know what? Also, go check out Dan the Fireman's videos.
Absolutely. Yeah, that'll help you out a lot.
Because seriously, like looking at the mistakes other people make and he breaks it down and like watching his little classroom stuff.
Right.
Like he breaks it down, like what wrong, what you can do to avoid it, all those things. Go check his stuff out.
Oh, better yet, how about this? So we're booked up next week. Hopefully we're going to have Ruroc here on Thursday. Dan, yeah, right. We're going to have them talking about the Atlas 3.0. Let's try to figure out Zoom and if Dan's available next Thursday.
Yeah, bro,
let's
you down?
have him on.
Let's do it.
Let's have another Texas person on. Wink, wink. I know he's not in Texas. Hey, look, if people can joke on me, I can joke on myself. Damn it, Dan. Shoot me a message, man, and we'll try to figure that out. That'd be cool because there's a lot we didn't get into in this.
Well, because there's a lot more to consider when it's like when you're talking about we didn't even touch like gear, insurance,
riding techniques.
Techniques,
there's
skills,
an
safety.
infinite amount of content that like Dan can speak on way better than we can.
That motherfucker brought cones with him, or did you buy it? I can't remember what it was. We went to the FTR, and he had cones. He said
he had his own cones.
His cones, or he went to buy them. I can't remember which one it was, but like I was like, that dude's legit.
Dan's now my favorite. He's the cone master.
Just go check out his stuff. Go to the MSF course. Take that first, and then do your research on what kind of riding you want to do.
He brought his own cones and a trauma kit.
Yeah, 100%, dude.
Dan, I love you so much. Okay. All right, guys, that's going to be it for us today. Thank you guys for watching if you're here live. And if you are, make sure to hit that like button, guys. It is super helpful. We're still trying to become the #2 motorcycle podcast on podcast platforms. If you guys are listening to us over on Apple, make sure to give us a review. We would love you super long time if you did. And that's going to be it. We're going to wrap up. We are going to be back next Thursday, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, just like every single week.
Did Dan have a Daniel, our buddy Dan, he had a thing that he wanted to show you, and it was a hashtag of some sort. I've lost it in the thing. Dan, drop it in the chat so we can see it, but you'll enjoy it.
Okay.
People are
oh God,
making comments on your hair.
I will end it on this, but look, I do know I got a little bit of a long hair mullet situation. Okay,
he said it. I know it had mullet. I know it had mullet in the hashtag.
Okay, so look, we don't know what's happening with the hair. Tune in next week to find out if I cut it yet. Look, that's our tag. Like, people are now curious if I'm going to cut my hair.
Chase's mullet on 2 wheels.
Okay, bye guys. Love you a long time.
Bye.